In the kingdom of Asante, there was a queen so beautiful, men wept at the sight of her. She had wealth. She had power. She had the love of a king who would move mountains for her smile. But she had no child. And in that kingdom, a woman without a child was a woman without a soul. This is the story of Queen Abina, the woman who wanted a child so badly. She made a deal with something she should never have spoken to, and paid a price no mother should ever pay. Queen Abina had been married to King Kofi for 7 years. 7 harvests. 7 rainy seasons. 7 years of empty arms and hollow smiles at royal celebrations where every other woman carried a child on her back. The king never blamed her. He was kind, patient. But Abina could see it, in the eyes of his advisors, in the whispers of the market women, in the silence of the palace at night. A kingdom needed an heir. And she had none. She tried everything. Herbs from the oldest healers in the land. Prayers at every sacred tree from the north to the south. She bathed in rivers blessed by priests. She fasted for 40 days. Nothing. Until the night an old woman appeared at the palace gate. The guards should have turned her away. An old woman with no name, no village, no explanation for why she stood at the palace gate at midnight. She should have been sent away immediately. But something strange happened. Every guard who tried to speak fell silent. Their mouths moved but no words came. And the old woman walked through the gates as if she had always belonged there. She found Abina alone in the garden, crying by the river. "You want a child," the old woman said. Not a question. A statement. Abina looked up, frightened. "Who are you?" The old woman smiled. Her teeth were too white. Her eyes too still. "I am the one the river sends when it decides to be generous," she said. "I can give you a child, Queen Abina. A beautiful child. Healthy. Strong. A child this kingdom will never forget." Abina's heart raced. "What do you want in return?" The old woman was quiet for a long moment. "The child will be yours," she finally said. "But on the night of their 7th birthday, you must bring them back to the river. Alone. At midnight. And you must not follow them in." Abina's blood ran cold. "What happens when they go in?" The old woman only smiled. "Do you want the child or not?" Pause. "And God forgive her." Abina said yes. 9 months later, Queen Abina gave birth to a girl. They named her Akojua. Born on a Sunday. Born with a full head of hair and eyes so bright. The midwife whispered that this child had been somewhere else before she came here. The kingdom celebrated for 7 days. King Kofi wept holding his daughter. He had never looked at Abina with so much love. And for 6 years, life was everything Abina had ever dreamed of. Akojua was brilliant. She learned to speak 3 languages before she was 4. She could name every star in the sky. She made the palace laugh every single day. She would climb into her mother's lap at night and say, "Mama, I will never leave you." And every time she said it, Abina smiled and died a little inside. The night before Akojua's 7th birthday, Abina did not sleep. She lay next to the king, staring at the ceiling, listening to her daughter breathe in the next room. She thought about running, taking Akojua and fleeing the kingdom before midnight, going somewhere the river could never find them. But deep in her bones she knew, you cannot run from a debt like this. At the stroke of midnight, Akojua woke up on her own. Abina watched from the shadows as her daughter rose from her bed, eyes open but unseeing, walking like something was pulling her by an invisible thread, toward the river. Abina followed, silent, shaking, tears streaming down her face. At the riverbank, Akojua stopped. She turned and looked at her mother. And in that moment, her eyes were completely clear. She was fully awake. Fully present. "Mama," she said softly. "Don't cry." Akojua, Abina choked. "I knew," her daughter said. "I always knew I was borrowed. But Mama." She stepped closer and touched her mother's face. "These 7 years with you were worth everything." She turned toward the river. "Akojua, Akojua." But the water rose. Gently. Like arms. Like a welcome. And her daughter walked in. And was gone. They say King Kofi searched that river for 40 years after Akojua disappeared. They say Abina never spoke again, not a single word, for the rest of her life. And they say that on quiet nights, when the river is still and the moon is full. You can hear a little girl singing on the water, happy, at peace, as if she was never really lost at all. Some debts cannot be undone. Some wishes should never be made. But a mother's love, even a desperate, broken, foolish love, is the most powerful force this world has ever known. And maybe, just maybe, that little girl knew it too.